you're leaving today, like right after this.
I think my
right?
flight's at like 4, so we have plenty of time.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it worked out great.
Yeah,
like
man.
All this timing.
No, I'm glad we were able to do this because I know we were originally going to do it like online, and then I found out, oh yeah, you're going to be in Tampa. In,
I
like,
told
2
you,
months.
I was like, I'm going to be in Florida, and then I didn't realize how. I mean, you're like a couple hours away, right? From because where do you live?
Yeah, I'm like a 2-hour drive. I'm looking like Gainesville. So it's really only known for like the University of Florida, like the Gators.
Yeah.
But the place we're in now it's cool. Like Tampa's called the Cigar City. It's a nickname for it.
Right.
And then like we're literally in Ybor City, which is where like they still make cigars today, but it was like big during like the Cuban Revolution. Like the factories that were here were funding the Cuban Revolution, and so there's just like a lot of history, and there's like obviously we saw chickens running around outside.
That was a sight. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and there's
awesome.
like it's like kind of kooky and like like very kind of like little Havana kind of vibe, like good restaurants, coffee shops. At nighttime, it gets a little sketch over here.
Really?
I'm not gonna lie. Probably it's more of a party atmosphere at night,
Gotcha.
and there has been like times where there's like gang stuff going on.
You just gotta know when. Gotta know where you're at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm so glad that we're able to do this. I know we just met like a few months ago. I guess that was like back in May.
Yeah, it was like Memorial Day weekend, right?
Yep. We met in Costa Rica. We went to the Paul Saladino conference, the animal-based gathering. Like, what was your like big takeaway from that? Like,
From being in Costa Rica on the gathering.
What was your impression coming off of that?
Coming away from it, and I even like realized during the trip, I'm like, I was just having so many conversations with everyone there, and my biggest takeaway was, man, everyone has the same kind of mindset. Everyone is like has the same kind of beliefs and thought processes, and there's just a big passion for health and wellness. People you really tell that people had that like they pride themselves in like really treating their bodies well, their families well, all through this lifestyle, and that's what kind of took away from that.
Yeah,
Just like being around like-minded people, and it was like so refreshing, and because you kind of get not that you're like alienated,
But you kind of are. Yeah.
But it's just so refreshing to be around like-minded people like yourself, and I think like we drive right away, like we met and we just started talking, and it was really awesome to meet you.
Yeah, same, man. No, that's kind of my biggest takeaway was the community aspect of it.
Yeah, the community.
And like, rarely do you go to something where you have 120 people and you connect with more than like 5 or 10% of those people. But it was one of those things where whatever conversation I found myself in with anyone that was there, it was very almost like a flow state. If you ever had that in conversation
100%.
with people, like you hit a flow state and it's like an hour or 2 hours goes by,
Yeah.
And because you're just like-mindedness, think very similarly. And so, because normally in your normal daily life, it's like you're kind of the exception, you're the outcast, like you're maybe kind of, people think you're a little nuts. Like I actually had family members, I'm not even kidding, like like a year ago, like want to stage an intervention for me.
No way.
For real.
Really?
Like that's how...
Because of how extreme it seemed.
Radical, right?
Yeah, how radical.
Which is crazy, right? It's crazy how it's radical to just care about your health, like what you're eating, your environment around you, movement, exercise. Like even it's seen as like this very fringe right wing even like thing now. Like it's even politicized that like taking care of your health and like working out is considered like right wing, like fringe.
It's wild.
Which is to me that shouldn't be politicized at all. It's like that should just be regardless of what your political beliefs are. Like you should care about those things.
I like that you said it. Like seems like it's radical, but really we're like kind of getting back to our roots. I think that's why the lifestyle it's like attractive to me because it's so simple and it's part of our like human biology. It's like we're meant to be in the sun. We were meant to like move our bodies. We're meant to put nutrient-rich foods, into our bodies to feel well. And the fact that it's now seeming like radical, like you were saying, it's just different. And that's why I'm so passionate about it because it is different, and there's just a lot of information to be shared.
Just a quick heads up, this episode is brought to you by BSF Products. That stands for BS Free. They specifically make hygiene products like toothpaste, dental floss, and mouthwash, and I really have been loving their tooth powder. It's fluoride free. The main ingredient is cattle bone hydroxyapatite, which is a material that our teeth are actually made of. So it's good for whitening and also strengthening enamel. It's also free of, artificial sweeteners and all these other garbage chemicals that are in most conventional toothpaste. So I highly recommend using that. Really love companies like BSF that focus not just on an animal-based lifestyle from a nutritional standpoint, but how really an animal-based lifestyle is comprehensive, it's holistic, it's minimizing toxins in your environment. And one way that we're exposed to a lot of toxins is through our hygiene products. And so I actually also have a discount code with them if you want to use their products. You can find them at bsfproducts.com. They're also on Instagram at bsfproducts. If you use code ZACH, Z-A-C-H, they'll throw in a free gift, a bamboo charcoal floss for you to try. And so again, love companies like this, love promoting them, love supporting them. I would promote them even if it wasn't an affiliation or a sponsorship. So please check them out. They're called BSF Products. You can find them at bsfproducts.com, or you can follow them on Instagram at BSF Products.
Well, I was hanging with another carnivore. They're more carnivore, animal-based carnivore community, whatever.
Yeah.
It's overlap.
I
was hanging out. Yeah, exactly. I was hanging out with another influencer yesterday, Girl Gone Carnivore. Shout out to her. But yeah, like we were talking about these, basically these same subjects. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I think we're just maybe ahead of our time a little bit. Like, I think we're kind of crazy right now. But it's kind of like doctors used to give like cigarettes to people at one point, literally.
Did they actually?
Yeah, they actually would give people like maybe in the 60s or something. So it's like, people saw like cigarettes as benign or even healthy at some point in our history. And it's like, or we look at things we did in our past, like they used to put like lead in like top hats and stuff, and people would that's where like the term Mad Hatter comes from, because if it was either lead or mercury, I can't remember, it would literally absorb it through their skin and it could cause people to like go insane. So it's like, there's just stuff like that, it's like where you're just ahead of your time a little bit, where I'm not saying that everybody's just going to eventually, go back to eating only animal foods kind of thing. But I do think there will come a time where they'll be like, you know what, those kind of crazy carnivore animal-based people were right. These seed oils are bad. Like processed food isn't benign, because that's even among a lot of the health community is like, oh, we'll just eat it in moderation, have a healthy relationship with food. And it's like, well, first off, the ultra processed foods are designed to be overeaten.
Exactly.
And hijack your satiety mechanisms. So even when you're eating other foods that aren't processed foods, you're still being impacted by your satiety from the processed foods. And so it's kind of like saying to an alcoholic, like, oh, we'll just have like one drink every once in a while. Like
the whole saying, like everything in moderation, it's not a thing. And it kind of goes down like a slippery slope.
Yeah.
Everyone, you can have a good time. You can like this and that, but you can't really just have like in moderation, because like you said, it kind of hijacks your brain, your satiety mechanisms, your hormones. And that's what those foods are like designed to do.
Literally designed to do that.
They're like drugs.
Exactly.
To like really get you addicted and keep you on that path.
So my hope is that over time we'll look, not that it matters, I don't really care if people think I'm insane, but like I think over time people will realize like, oh yeah, maybe these people were onto something, so. But that's why it's exciting to have you, because you're a doctor of physical therapy, and I like having you because it's actually a subject matter I don't really know a whole lot about. But yeah, like I think it would be cool for you to kind of maybe share like how you got red pilled in a sense when it comes to diet and lifestyle, like what attracted you to animal based. Was it, like what was going on in your personal life that drew you to that? Yeah. What drew you to want to be a physical therapist? Because that's a very, like, that's almost like a calling. I look at like being a nurse or a physical therapist, like you have to enjoy what you're doing and helping people. So, talk about that. And then, just to kind of give everybody a picture where we're going, talking about maybe what are some of the common
weak spots you see in people's bodies with your patients? What are the common things that come up? How do you address that? And then toward the end of the podcast, we'll maybe get into some practicals, like especially maybe for people as they age, what are certain things they can do for mobility and things like that. So yeah, if you want to just kind of talk about yourself and your background, how you kind of got into all this, and I would love to hear more.
Yeah, so my name's Christian. Like you said, I'm a doctor of physical therapy, and it's a profession that I've always wanted to do. And so I have a twin brother, and we were always just so active growing up. And so it's always been my passion to do something with movement, because we're always on the go.
Are you identical twins?
We're fraternal, but we might as well be called identical because we look so much alike. But so our passion was playing basketball, and so obviously I don't have the height gene in me. So when I knew my basketball career would not last, I knew I wanted to be in a career that's movement based. Yeah. And so one of my coaches growing up, he was a physical therapist, and I just figured if I'm not going to play basketball, I want to be a physical therapist because it's something related to movement and all that. I didn't get the best grades in high school, but I did really well in college. And as soon as I started studying anatomy and all that stuff, it just really fascinated me too. And I really just confirmed this is what I want to do. It's about the body. The body's so fascinating. It's still, we don't know everything about the human body even today. I don't think we'll ever fully figure it out. But anyway, fast forward, I got into physical therapy school. It was the hardest thing ever. 3 years after college. It's a doctorate program. And I just knew it's for me because everything I was learning, it's about getting people well, and whether you're rehabbing from an injury or getting back to an activity you love, the fact that I'm a part of that is just so meaningful to me, and it's just really meaningful to that person in front of you. And so if I can be a part of that process, it's just really amazing for me. But how I got into the nutrition part of everything, because physical therapy, they say, it's only you exercise people, there's nothing really diet related.
Holistic, right.
And we can talk about it, but med school in general, or schooling in general, doesn't have the best nutrition education through the standard, education system. So we got very little in physical therapy school as well. But I started to believe it or not, being in physical therapy school, you're very sedentary. You're in class for 8 hours, and then you go home and you study for 8 hours. So you're very sedentary. You're sitting down a lot. And so growing up being very active and just really, moving my body. In school, I started to notice I'm starting to feel really achy, sluggish, not feeling like my normal self. And so I started to gain weight. I started to gain weight, not fit in my clothes, just feel really sluggish, my energy and all that. And so it really just inspired me to dig deep into, all right, what's causing this? One, I'm sure it's the lifestyle, just not moving my body as much. But two, it's definitely what I'm putting in my body as well, food-wise. So I discovered the ketogenic diet, and I never knew anything about that diet. So I saw Dr. Berg. He was one of my first inspirations. And he basically was the no-carb guy. No bread, no gluten, no wheat. And as soon as I did that, I dropped 10, 15 pounds in a month or something. Yeah, it was quick. I even put before and after photos, and I'm like, wow. And I started feeling so much better too. That was the biggest thing. I lost weight, but I started feeling so much better, energy-wise. I was getting better sleep. I was really just focusing on meat, cheese, eggs. It was kind of the dirty keto diet too, eating those fat bombs.
Or did you have seed oils too? Would you
I was
say
having
at that
seed
time?
oils. Yeah, because I knew nothing about
the quality of fat. Not all fats created equal kind of thing.
When I was in school, I shared a house with 8 other people. We were all in the same program, and we would all go to Costco and get those jugs of canola oil, and because I didn't know. I thought oil was oil.
Well, it's funny, those jugs literally say heart healthy on it too.
Right, they do. Yeah, it's advertising. It's to sell you, but yeah, and so I still felt even really good following the ketogenic diet, eating seed oils, and I saw really good results. And so fast forward, I started my career as a physical therapist. I was doing low carb keto, and then I discovered Paul Saladino.
Did you find him on Joe Rogan, or just happened to see him on Instagram? I think I just
discovered a live that he was doing, because he used to go live when Paul Saladino used to live in San Diego, and he would go on lives, and I think I just like started tuning into his lives, and I saw his podcast, and that's why I really started learning about, carnivore and organ meats. I started eating organs too, and that was another level of wellness that I discovered. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, I went carnivore for a while, and then I know he changed into starting incorporating like fruits and vegetables, and so really fast forward today, I eat animal based, so it's really just meat, eggs, cheese, organs, fruit, and it's like it's honey. The best. Honey. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know about honey.
Like drinking the honey.
You know about honey. We talk about that all the time.
It's my treat.
Buy the jar, just chug it. Yep. So, yeah.
And so that's how long is that whole journey from keto to now?
Keto, probably 2016, 2017, probably.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So a long time.
Long time.
This.
I guess almost 10 years.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I started like 2020, and I started with keto, had a friend who introduced me to it, had no idea about it. I had to look up what is allowed on the keto diet. Oh, okay, it's a low carb diet. I didn't even know it was like a low carb diet, or I knew nothing about it. I just knew people were getting healthier. And so I did it pretty religiously. Like I'm pretty like dogmatic, like don't really break my code kind of person. So I'm kind of like all or nothing. And so I went like all or nothing with keto, and I did it for probably, like at least 3 years, I would say. And
because you were actually like overweight at one point. Like
I was like 195, and I weigh 155 now as a comparison. I'm the same height. So, and, I guess it was like 2020. So I was like 31 going on 32. But yeah, it was like every year, it's like I was like my baseline weight was like an added 6 pounds. Like I just kept, and then I just felt sluggish. I look at old photos. I'm like, man, I look inflamed, sluggish. I look like I have low testosterone. Like, because it wasn't, and that's just it. It wasn't just the food. It was the total environment that I'm in, and that's kind of probably like when you were in school for PT, like you're indoors all the time, like you're in all this artificial light. You're hardly ever out in the sun. You're not moving. Like you're pretty much doing everything against your biology, right?
Against our biology.
But it's like you almost...
That's perfectly said.
You don't really have a choice in those kind of situations, like... But yeah, so I started to have electrolyte issues with keto, like muscle cramps, and there's a condition that I guess it's not really a condition, but it's something that happens when you're like starting to fall asleep, and then you kind of like wake up really quick. You like jerk awake. Like there's actually a term for that, and I've heard it from other people that have done ultra low carb. They start to experience those issues.
Right.
And like I actually felt like it was nuking my metabolism, my testosterone, and like my basal, like my body temperature was actually running lower. Like my thermostat was running lower. And so I then started doing carnivore, which was just a little too rigid for me to only... I love meat and stuff, but like give me something sweet every once in a while, So I did that for like maybe a couple of months, and then I found out about Paul Saladino probably 2.5 years ago.
Oh, really?
And I was actually pretty skeptical about him because of his, approval of like carbohydrates in your diet. Because like in keto and even in the carnivore community, it's like dogmatic, like all carbs are bad. Don't ever eat any carbs.
And that's what I was believing for a while. It's like you have any carbs at all, and it's gonna wreck everything.
Yeah, like it's gonna cause inflammation. It's gonna spike your blood sugar, and it's like. But realizing, like, just like how not all fats are created equal, not all carbs are created equal, you know? And it's like the sourcing, and there's a complexity to it. And I know, like, it's been talked about before, but it's like a tablespoon of fructose from an apple is far different than just a tablespoon of just pure fructose, right? Because it's like you've got the fiber, you've got all of the other things that it's packaged with in the right ratios. So it's like a time release capsule in your body, like the absorption, and even realizing like periodic brief spikes in insulin is actually healthy for the human body, right?
Yeah, it's part of our biology. Like we're supposed to have spikes of insulin.
Like if you exercise, for example,
it'll go
your blood sugar is going to go up.
you know?
It's all about how long it stays up.
Right.
Because if you're inflamed, if your metabolic health is poor, your insulin levels and your sugars, they stay elevated. And so that kind of wreaks havoc on your body and stuff. But we're supposed to have spikes, and we're meant to we go through waves of that. So that's why I kind of fell away from keto, is because they always say, like, if you have any carbs, if you like raise your insulin at all, like you're breaking the rules
of the world,
But it's actually really healthy for us. Yeah.
And how did you notice that you felt when you started including carbohydrates in your diet again?
It felt so natural. It felt like I started to like have breaths of fresh air, because it's like this seems so right.
Yeah.
It's
like intuitive.
It's intuitive,
right?
yeah. Eating meat, eating fruit. I just feel like that's the way we were designed and how we were evolved to eat. And so, and your body recognizes that.
Yeah. Well, I like Saladino talks about it a lot. It signals abundance,
Yeah,
and it's like
thing.
That's my problem with like intermittent fasting and ultra low carb diets is you're signaling scarcity to your body. And when you're thinking from more of a hormonal standpoint, and this especially applies to women even more, they have to be like men. Sometimes stressors in the environment actually increase testosterone. It's like with everything, you want just the right amount, right?
Yeah.
Not too little, not too much. And I feel like when you include carbohydrates in your diet, you might even trigger some hormetic responses and things like that. But my sleep is better, my energy is better, my mood is better. Like you just feel better.
Well, because your body's recognizing, like you said, like it's in abundance. So like, we have plenty of resources to use. And so you're not going into like fight or flight mode into your podcast.
No, you're good. You're good.
Your body's not going into like fight or flight.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's a big thing with health in general.
With like
cortisol,
like people's
and nervous system
levels.
regulation. There's so many things that affects our nervous system and our state of homeostasis and all that. And so food's a big one, lifestyle's a big one, stress is a big one. There's so many things that go into what affects our well-being and our nervous system.
And so how does that now, because you're in physical therapy, how does all of this inform your approach to your patients? And is there any even like legal guardrails that you have to operate within as far as things you can recommend or talk about? Does it blur the line? Is that outside of your wheelhouse or area of authority? Like how do you navigate all that stuff?
Yeah, so technically like nutrition coaching and advising is not in our scope of practice is what it's called. But we can recommend, like I can say like, you probably shouldn't be eating this packaged thing that has like a laundry list of ingredients. But I can kind of like make general recommendations. It's not like you need to be eating this, and this. And that it goes beautifully with what I do with physical therapy. Not only you need to go through like this exercise program that I feel like will get you better, but food is also so important to healing and feeding ourselves. It's just super important also. And so I think that's why I'm so passionate about it as well, because it's such it's a big lever too to pull on for health. And so when I'm advising patients, I always recommend, or not recommend, but I always mention that like food is also important. It's like a classic saying, like you can't out exercise a bad diet. But what we fuel our bodies with is just the most important thing, on top of like me recommending like what to do with their rehab and stuff. So I'm kind of in a unique position now because there's so many different settings in physical therapy you can work. You can work in a hospital, you can work in an outpatient, you have a specialty. But I work in home health, and so I go to patients' homes, and a lot of these patients are ill. They like chronically have this and that. They're obese. They have
what's the usual age?
The usual age is it's like the older population, so 70s, 80s, 90s. I see some 100-year-olds, which is really, really fascinating, actually.
Wow.
But
that's
my
crazy.
patient population is basically anybody who's at home for whatever reason. They're homebound, so
they can't go to a clinic or something like that. So
my agency that I work for, we have to go to them because they're not able to go out. And so I see people who have had a stroke, a heart attack, a surgery, knee replacement. They have MS or Parkinson's, anything that keeps them from being in the community. So, but a lot of the times, the majority is like people have a lot of chronic illnesses, you know, a lot of years of, you know, not treating their bodies well, and they get into the system of going to the doctor, you know, they get prescribed a medication and it doesn't work, but then they still go back to the doctor to adjust their medication to then still not be well. But, you know, they're kind of sold on this, if you take this medication that you will be. But there's never ever a plan for these patients to get off of the medications.
Get better. Yeah.
Or get better. Because no one's actually, their providers aren't actually treating like the root. And that's also a huge passion of mine, is getting to like the root of what's causing a certain symptom in somebody or an ailment or whatever. It's can't be fixed by a pill. And so that's what's been inspiring me to kind of look outside the box and hopefully create something here soon where I can do my own thing and get away from like the traditional setting, because I think it's failing a lot of, and I know it's failing a lot of people.
So what is your vision for that, like of what that would look like? Because the kind of what you're trying to, was it Primal? What was the name that you were?
I'm kind of like playing around with different names.
Think about it. Sure.
I like Primal X. Primal because I want to get back to our roots. I think we're so far removed from, you know, how we were originally evolved to live as humans. And X because it's, I don't know, I want to set myself apart.
Yeah.
And it's fully encompassing like movement, food, lifestyle. And so my vision is I want to get ahead of the suffering, because there's so many people suffering and they don't know what to do. And a lot of times it's, if they just had the right education early on in their lives as more like a prevention standpoint, then I think people really thrive and live well throughout their lifestyle, versus waiting for something to happen.
We're talking about decades of neglect, right?
Exactly.
Of behaviors, because that's what's I think amazing, that the human body is even as resilient as it is. That
it's really good at hiding
you can
things.
literally have a regular gasoline car engine that you always put diesel in, and somehow you still put 500,000 miles on that thing. Like, it's kind of how the body is.
Totally.
Like, all the inputs are the wrong inputs, and yet somebody can, they end up with a lot of chronic disease, but they can go be 60, 70 years old, you know, before all these things really start to manifest all at once.
And it's all
you
under the radar somewhat, because our body, like I like that you said that, just our body's really good at hiding things, and it's really good at masking symptoms or
overcompensating for something that's lacking. You know, like the body will do that. Like even someone
our
that
bodies
has
are smart. They're
clogged arteries, the body will start creating new
like
ones
different pathways
around it, right?
Yeah. So that's my big passion, is because I work with so many people who are chronically ill and chronically obese, or they have all these different conditions. My passion is I really just want to get ahead of it. You know, what kind of education can we put out there to people to really live well? You know, it's really, you know, it's really simple. Like, you just got to eat well, prioritize your sleep, move your body, you know, not be caught into this modernization of how we're living now. Because, I mean, I know we're sitting in chairs, but I know me and you're going to be dying to move our bodies after this for sitting for a little bit. But if people just know that education, how it actually impacts them long term, I think that's something to be really valued.
What would you say, you know, like that people, what is the type of movement or movements that people neglect throughout their life that kind of leads to where everything comes to a head later in life, where they're almost immobile or, you know, like they have no range of motion or whatever, like beyond just like the type of environment we're all accustomed to of sitting in chairs, sitting at desks, like people only walking average 3,000 steps a day. Like, aside from all of that, like, what do you see as like big contributors to, you know, people's lack of mobility?
I think it's like we're literally just not experiencing full range of motion throughout a daily basis. And so, like you said, we're all sitting in chairs. We're all like going from chair to chair, like from your living room to literally the car. And then, but yeah, I think in general, we're not experiencing full range of motion that we have. And so because of that, we lose it. We lose that range of motion that we don't use, because our bodies are smart. You know, if we're not going to access certain movements, it's not going to hold on to that, because our body doesn't want to expend energy that it doesn't need to. And so I'm a really big fan of every single person on this planet should be doing there's this movement called controlled articular rotations, where basically you take any joint and you move them through a full range of motion. You might feel some cracks and pops, but as long as they're painless, or it doesn't cause
relatively
you pain,
pain-free,
then I think we should be doing that, because our daily lives don't put us through full range of
those
motion.
kind of rigors,
And so I think every single person on the planet every single joint in our body, there's ways to access, your full rotational capacity is what we call it. And so that's even like with my older patients, like everyone to some degree does CARs. I call them CARs, controlled articular rotation, where you take any joint and you put it through a full range of motion, because our daily lives don't put us in those positions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what would you say, like, for people our age, like, what would be like a few ranges of motion that you would prioritize and just incorporate into your lifestyle now, so you don't have some of these mobility issues in the future? What would you say?
Well, I think like our ball and socket joints, like our hips and our shoulders, those are very
Those
mobile.
get tight, right?
Yeah, they get tight. They get, and they're our most mobile joints. And so if we don't have mobile hips or shoulders, the body compensates somewhere. Like that's why people have low back pain, because our joints aren't functioning the way they should. And so our body compensates, and it's really smart. And so definitely everyone should do, hips and shoulders to warm up for whatever activity they're doing, or maybe in the morning when your coffee's brewing, do some exercises like that. But I think in general too, people don't like lift heavy weights much anymore.
Yeah.
One, people don't know how to, and people are kind of scared of lifting heavy weights, but it's just so good for us.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like when I was a kid, I grew up in the 90s, it was like part of physical education, like in school. Like they taught you the traditional bodybuilder type weightlifting method. So it's never been intimidating to me, because I was exposed to it from a young age. Now I've just had big periods of my life where I've neglected that, not done it.
Right.
But it wasn't from intimidation. It was just out of laziness, But I do think what's talked about way less is like stretching, mobility, and realizing, like, for me, that's an area of weakness, So it's like, I guess thinking about the typical person, like what their day looks like, maybe they work an 8 to 5, they work in a cubicle or an office somewhere, they're having to sit a lot. Like, what would you suggest for, like, what should a day look like for that person where they can, they're subject to that environment, but how can they make the most of it? What are some things they can do throughout the day to offset some of that?
Right, that's a good question. Because I know everyone, it's pretty standard to have an 8 to 5 job, sitting at a desk, you commute to work, you commute back, and then you come home and you sit on the couch and you kind of rinse and repeat. But I think as long as people like incorporate some kind of like what I call like movement snacks, throughout the day, if you're sitting for a long time, like just get up and walk around the office, or get some steps in, maybe like while you work, or if you can get like a standing desk, that helps too. Because the longer we stay in any one position, that's not good.
Right. Whether you're standing or sitting, right?
Standing or sitting. Yeah. If you are in one position for a very long time, the body doesn't like that, and it starts to talk to you. But if people can incorporate what I call like movement snacks, get a little bit of steps in during the day, and if you can do that for longer periods of time, then it really goes a long way to your body. And then just like the mobility drills that I was talking about. If you have a few moments, like roll your neck out to do full range of motion, go through your shoulder, CARs, your hips, do things that will open up your ranges of motion, since your body has just been stuck in one position. But yeah.
Yeah, I think, because I used to work like 8 to 5s, now I'm in a different spot because I'm a business owner and I work from home. So that gives me a certain flexibility that maybe certain people don't have. But
True.
I think you could still, even if your schedule is more rigid, like,
I feel like there's always a way to like you can put it in there.
Yeah,
you just
like,
have to prioritize it, and
it's like small changes. It's like, I used to sit and work. Now I do like a standing desk. But like we just said, like, you don't want to just stand in the same position all the time either. So at least once an hour, I'm like moving around, or even when I'm standing, I'll alternate. Like, I'll spread my legs wider, like a wider stance. I'll
Like
bring them in
stagger
narrow.
stance.
I'll rest more weight on one foot versus the other. And it just is very intuitive.
like I feel when it's time
Right. Your body
to change
will
that
tell you.
position. The body tells you, you know. And so it's like doing that, and then, you know, sometime around like 10:30, I like to take a 15-minute break. I go sit outside my backyard with my bare feet on the ground,
Nice.
take my shirt off,
Yep.
face the sun. You know, I'm getting the sunlight, you know, and then you do that for 15 minutes. You come back in, you go back to work, you know, and
You almost
then
feel recharged after doing that.
oh yeah, you feel energized big time
so
from
good.
being in the sun, you know, and then it's like I have the advantage of being able to go to the gym in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Usually between like 1 and 3, you know, and so I'll go to the gym, do a workout there, then come back home, go back to work. And so it's again like it's going to look different for everybody, but even I've had times where I have a pull-up bar that you can hang in a doorway in your house and just those snacks,
Yeah.
those exercises, go do 10 once an hour, go do
an
10
hour.
pull-ups,
Yeah.
do 10 push-ups.
And they
like,
take no time. You
exactly. It takes
just plug
30
it in,
seconds.
and it goes a long way. You know, just plug it in, do it, and then get back to what you were doing. You know, it just goes a
Yeah.
long way for the body.
Because I think that's why people with everything, it seems like they overcomplicate everything. Like
Yeah.
whether you're talking about food, like, oh, it's too complicated, it's too expensive, it's too this, it's too that. Oh, I don't have time to work
Yeah.
out. And it's just, I think that it's actually a lot simpler than we make it. And influencers are kind of a double-edged sword because I think just as there are a lot of good ones out there putting out good, relevant, sincere content, there are ones out there that I think raise this bar like unnecessarily high.
Right.
And it's like they might not even be doing these things themselves in their own
No, I totally get
lifestyle.
what you're
It's
saying.
kind of like you see these like almost parody videos being made. It's like my day, and
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
it's at 5 or 4:35. I get up and then I dunk my head in a bucket of ice, and you know, and it's like they go through all
It's
this.
like rigid, and those videos are so funny.
Yeah, and it's like, but then there are some people that are seriously making those videos, like legitimately
Yeah.
making those videos, and it's like most people could do that for maybe like a week,
Yeah.
and then they would just burn
It's not
out.
realistic.
You know?
It's good to know like those different tools though. Like,
Sure.
I think it's good to like throw your head in a bucket of ice, cold water every once in a while, or cold plunge. I think, but people can like really overdo it.
Yep.
And get too far into the biohacking is what you call it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But we just gotta keep it simple. Like eat real food, single ingredients, drink good water out of glass. You know, try to avoid the toxins that are literally
in the environment.
all around us in our food, in our environment. Just keep it easy. Move your body, eat real food, get in the sunlight.
Well, and you know, like talking about joints and joint pain, joint health, like a lot of people I talk to that when they veer off of carnivore or animal based for very long, they start to feel that inflammation
Totally.
in their joints,
Yeah.
like immediately within a day
Yeah.
comes back. And it's like, if you're consistently eating that every single day, even if you're doing these different exercises, these different, it's like the can't outrun the bad diet analogy. It's like, you're gonna have joint pain.
Yeah.
Your joints are gonna be inflamed, even though you're doing the stuff. And so
Totally.
it's really like
I think
you
that-
can't really separate the two if
And I'm
you
kind of
really.
glad you brought that up because it's another lever that I can help patients pull when, let's say, I'm trying to treat someone's shoulder pain or whatever. And I'm doing all the right things. I'm prescribing the right exercises, but they're still might not be getting totally better that what they want, what I want for them. But it could be very well be inflammation in the body from whatever their lifestyle they're doing or their diet that they have or lack of sleep or how stressed they are. There's so many things that go into why the body feels what it's feeling, especially like joint pain. It's not just like an injury to a joint but it's multifactorial is what we call it in school. You know, there's so many things that feed into how we're feeling, how we have pain, and so there's so many different ways that we can intervene, and then go that way at it.
So, what do you think prevents other people in the medical profession from sort of breaking from this away from the system and the sort of, you know, normal way of operation? Like, what are the barriers that prevent them from taking a more like holistic approach to medicine or physical therapy? Like, what is like from your perspective, like what would be the obstacles for a person in your shoes that would maybe keep them from, you know, breaking away from the matrix, so to speak?
Like as a provider. So I guess I'll just talk about, you know, myself. There's just so many barriers for me to stay in the system how it is now because, you know, it's all insurance based and that we're so limited by like somebody behind a screen and authorizing a certain amount of like visits that the insurance will approve. And so one, I get very limited time with the person in front of me. And so I really got to prioritize like what we're going to do in that visit, because I know it's so valuable. But I want to break away because people need a lot of time, and they need a ton of education and just time to intervene and really get better, like troubleshoot different things. And I think that's the biggest barrier, is like the traditional sense is that traditional healthcare is just really limiting what a provider can do with a patient, because there's just so many rules and there's so many different things. And so that's why I really want to break away from it and like create my own thing, because I really feel like there is a broken system right now, and it's really not serving the human in front of us.
Yeah.
So
is there anyone currently like in physical therapy that's kind of more of like a trailblazer in this that you look to for like inspiration, or, you know, somebody that's kind of already doing it? Or do you feel like
I feel like not really physical therapy, but I think it's kind of like where my passions have all kind of like meshed together. It's like what got me into it was like rehab, but when I really started taking a lot of steps back, it's like it's all an encompassing thing. And for me, my passion is like combining it all, because I think that's really what we really have to do to really make someone in front of us better.
Yeah.
You know, but in terms of a trailblazer, I don't really know, honestly.
Yeah.
I follow a lot of like health and wellness people who have like really good like nutrition background, and obviously Paul Saladino, he's a medical doctor. And so he's kind of pioneering like obviously like our headspace and our mindset about it all. Mm-hmm. But not really in physical therapy, because like I said, it's not really like the scope to intervene on everything.
Right. What do you think about knees over toes guy?
I love his
Patrick.
stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One, it's like it's a controversial thing, because they always say like, don't have your knees over your toes because it's going to wreck your knee or whatever.
Where does that come from, that philosophy? Why is that ever a thing, like from a scientific standpoint?
I think it's like I mean, it's contextual. Like if you're having knee pain, it's probably, you know, not something good to do right off the jump, is having your knee go over your toes, because it's set.
You want to work
you
up
want
to
to
that.
You want to work your way up to it, but there's nothing inherently wrong with, one, any exercise, but two, there's nothing inherently wrong with having your knee go over your toes, because it's actually something we do on a day-to-day basis. Going downstairs, our knees go over our toes. There's so many different.
Or if you're like in a squatting position,
Yeah.
you know.
That's why I like physical therapy, because if someone's having knee pain, you can always like adjust the range of motion they're going in and like adjust the load, adjust the environment. But yeah, the knees over toes thing is, I think it's been debunked for so long. Mm-hmm. But I think his thing blew up because it's so controversial.
Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah.
But I love his stuff though.
Yeah, and everybody I've ever talked to that implements any of his movements have seen nothing but like benefits from it. I have a friend; he's a veteran.
He does like all the backwards walking and all that.
Like the treadmill, like the backward walking treadmill or whatever, and like what are or is it Nordic curls? Isn't that the Nordic curls is like a big
like
part
really
of
slow
it.
hamstring, like yeah. Those
And
are hard.
then
Those are so hard.
I was gonna say I've actually never attempted one, but just looking at it, I
know I'll
it's
fall
gonna
right on
be
my
like
face.
trying to do a muscle up or something, you know.
Yeah.
But I have a buddy who he's a veteran, and he was in Iraq in the early 2000s, and he had all kinds of just. He's only in his 40s, but it's miles, not age, right? He just put so many miles on his body while he was over there, and just broke his body down. Yeah. And so, I mean, he's had like 16 surgeries or something in various parts of his body. So yeah, he's like the Terminator or something at this point. But you know, like he's like biggest thing was like he really bought into the knees over toes stuff, the philosophy, and he's literally remedied a lot of his. It's almost like weak spots, weak points. Like I feel like that's a good program to identify the weak spots in your body and address them. Yeah, because even. He'll sometimes share a certain movement with me. I would get like shoulder pain, usually on my left shoulder. And it was usually, I think, because I sleep on my left shoulder a lot, plus doing like bench press and stuff like that. So there was a movement where you literally take like only like a 2.5 pound weight and you like rest it on your knee like this. And basically like just do this motion. It seems so simple. Like, well, that's not going to do. I only did that like 2 or 3 times, and the pain was gone.
Nice.
I didn't even need to keep, and it was like 2.5 pounds, 3 sets of 12 or something.
It's funny that I mean that's the way you treat like a ball and socket joint is you want to like really restore the rotational capacity of the joint.
Yep.
And so that's exactly probably how I would, treat you is one, how is your full range of motion? And two, like what's the rotational capacity of the ball and socket joint? And then you just do like a progressive overload where you find a certain load that it can tolerate. And then over time you progress it in a rotational sense, especially for the shoulder. Yeah.
What would you say for someone, because like I do the more traditional weightlifting, the sort of bodybuilder type method. What
it's more
would
like the
be
bigger movements.
The types of exercise? Because, the other thing I notice is tightness, right? If I'm not conscious about really like the full range of motion stuff, like if I go a couple of weeks where I've not really challenged that, like I start to feel really tight. So what would you say for someone that does that type of regimen? Like what are the best movements to maintain your flexibility?
I think just to zoom out, I think everyone should be doing like a different variety of exercises. Like, I don't know if I'm directly answering your question, but we want to do different varieties. We don't want to do the same gym routine
movement
all the time. So right now I'm a part of a gym where we do like strength and conditioning, or we do like a heavy lift, or we'll do, more of just like low intensity stuff. It's always like you're giving your body change. And so that's what the body needs. It needs that variety so that we can include different ranges of motion and different loads and different capacities. And that's how you maintain good longevity of your joints is you challenge the body in different ways often. So like for runners, for example, if all you do is run, then that's just setting your body up for like wear and tear. But because the body needs like a different variety of things. Like if you're a runner, you should definitely be on like a strength program. If you're a lifter, you should also do like a little bit of walking, a little bit of running, just to switch it up in the body. So I don't know if I can answer like specifically what you should do in the gym, but all I can say is like you want to do different things. You always want to switch it up.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess because some people swear by just doing like kettlebell workouts because you're getting cardio, you're getting strength, you're getting mobility.
Yeah.
Is the juice worth the squeeze with kettlebell? Would you say like
I think so.
It's a pretty good like to kind of encompass this what you're talking about, these different ranges of motion, different weights, different routine.
Yeah. I like kettlebells because it's a free weight. And so you're not limited by like the machine putting you into that range of motion, but the kettlebells is keeping your body honest, and it kind of identifies where areas of your body that you can work on. And so I do like free weights. I do like barbells. I do like kettlebells because it's actually you're doing the movements that what your body can do, and versus like if you go to a gym, it has all these like set machines where you're kind of adapting to the machine versus like when you have a free weight.
It's not a natural
thing. Not a natural thing. Yeah. So I really support doing like free weight stuff because you can do the movements different ways each time too. Versus like at a machine, you do the same movement pattern over and over. So I think it is worth the squeeze. I'm a big kettlebell guy.
No, that's good to know.
Yeah.
What do you think about calisthenics? Because there are some people that are like, Adam Frater, for example. I follow him on Instagram. He's a big calisthenics guy, and he swears he doesn't do any weight training. It's all calisthenics.
Is calisthenics like body weight stuff or
all body weight stuff? Yeah. So like push-ups, pull-ups, muscle-ups, like what are your thoughts on that? Like kind of
I like that. I mean,
exercise.
I definitely think he has something there. Like, yeah, I don't think you need weights to get a good workout because there's so many ways to load the body, whether it's through volume, whether it's through intensity, whether it's through actual physical weight. And so if his volume is appropriate and he's getting a good challenge out of it, then yeah, I think there's totally some from behind that for sure.
Yeah. What do you think about like CrossFit for the body? Like I said, see some potential dangers?
I think there is potential dangers, but I think it's because people they jump into it, too strong. I think a lot of the instructors don't
realize people need to ramp up a little bit.
Yeah, if you like kind of just go right into it, you're kind of setting yourself up
for injury.
I think that's why it gets a bad rap is because people get injured. But I think it's because maybe some individuals aren't appropriate for CrossFit, maybe at that time, and they kind of just jump into it. They kind of just jump into it.
Yeah, because like if you start doing deadlifts and you're throwing around all this heavy weight. And you
or like
haven't
they
done
don't warm
deadlifts in
up
10
properly,
years,
or like
right?
you already have an ailment going into CrossFit or something, and then you do these like big explosive movements, and I think you're just asking yourself to like get injured.
What would you say is like one trend you see out there that is way overrated and may actually be causing more harm than good? Like, what do you see? Whether that could be diet related, exercise related, like what's kind of one thing that really sticks out to you that almost makes you cringe if you see people kind of promoting it, so to speak?
Something that's overrated. I think it's all the biohacking stuff. Not that I think it's like really harming people, but I think people can. I think we talked about it a little bit. People can kind of overdo it, and I don't think we need to expose ourselves to like that.
Do you think
much extreme?
Do you think, and you're thinking more like in the terms of cold plunging?
Yeah, cold
saunas,
plunging, exactly. Like
any
people
of those
swear by like
stressor-
you need a cold plunge every single morning. You need to like get into the sauna as well to truly be healthy and to really biohack your health. But I think a lot of people overdo it though. Not that it's cringeworthy, but I think, like I said, people are just
a little
overdoing
overrated,
it.
almost like the intermittent fasting
Yeah.
thing. I think is a little overrated. I think all the common thread between all those is the scarcity again versus the abundance.
Yeah.
And it's like.
And I think all these are like good tools, like, but I don't think they should be like religiously done consistently. 'Cause I think, like I said, people can overdo it, but they're just kind of like different tools you can like use here and there to really like have your health long term. For sure.
So I would say, I said this earlier, I try to do everything very intuitively. And when you've been like actively conscious about your body, paying attention to cues, like I think you can get really good at it. Like even with my eating, some days I crave more carbs. I want more carbs. Some days I crave more fat. I eat more fat. Some days I crave more protein. I eat more protein. Some days I crave more salt. I salt everything more, and even like the sort of micro movements throughout the day. It's like those little snacks. I just go by, all right, well, how's my back feeling right now? What's my body telling me? And I just think even with those stressors, like I'll be like, today I feel like I'm supposed to do a cold plunge today. I haven't done one in 3 months, but today I feel like I'm supposed to do one.
Right.
Or, I think I'm supposed to get in the sauna today.
There is
but
a lot
it's
to
like
say.
one-offs.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy. And you talk about controversial things. I do see profound benefits with nicotine, for example, and I know there's a lot of discussion on that. If you can't, like, because it is addictive, so you shouldn't do it every day, and if you can't not do it every day, then you just shouldn't touch it at all. But if you can manage it, I intuitively smoke cigars on occasion, and it's not something I plan out. I could go a month, 2 months without it, but then I wake up one day and I'm like, I feel like I'm supposed to have a cigar today. And, I get these cognitive benefits. There are legitimate neurological benefits to nicotine in isolation, right? And so the sourcing of it is important. I think cigars are one of your best sources of it. And I think Paul Saladino actually talked about that recently. He got asked that question. But again, I'm not encouraging anybody to do nicotine. That's what I do.
Well, I think
and
your
it's
overall
not for everybody.
Yeah, I think your overall message right now is there's something to be said about truly listening to your body. Like it is speaking to us.
Yeah.
And so when you really truly sit, take a step back and listen to what your body's actually telling you, it will tell you what it needs. You need to go for a walk today, or you need to like lift a heavy weight today, or you need to, I don't know, get away from humans because you're maybe overstimulated
or
or something.
Even take a day off from something. I'm supposed to work out today, but I actually feel like I'm supposed to take a rest day today.
Yeah.
Or this has been a really stressful week with work and everything, and I'm already maybe I don't need to get in a cold plunge.
Yeah, because that's just going to really
my
put me
nervous
over.
system's already ramped up. My cortisol is already high, and so. But if you're just too rigid about it, we're like, well, I cold plunge every morning as soon as I get up, or rain, snow, shine, whatever. And I just think, like, I appreciate that type of discipline,
Right.
But I've learned over time to be less rigid, do things more intuitively. I mean, there's certain things like you're never going to do. Like I'm never going to intuitively feel like, I need to wake up and have some seed oils today.
Right.
Like that's never going to happen.
Yeah, we can't have seed oils. We cannot have seed oils.
Ever, but it's like there's so many other things where it's like you just have to listen to your body. Totally. And I feel like when you do that, you get actually better health outcomes.
Yeah. Yeah, because going away from rigidity, you go back into like I think the goal is always to like, how can we not overstimulate the nervous system, and how can we be in like a rest and digest in your parasympathetic mode.
Yep.
And so I think that's the goal. We don't want to overstress ourselves. We want to signal our body into abundance, like you were saying too, with food, but really just be more intuitive all around with our bodies.
Well, and I've thought a lot about this over the last few months of like, you know, we talk about all these levers we can pull. Let's say you have your diet dialed in, your sleep's dialed in, you're exercising, you're minimizing toxins in your environment. You can do all those things, check all those boxes, but I feel like something that doesn't get talked about enough is stress.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
And it's like stressful things happen to humans throughout their day, throughout their life. And if you're not managing that well, you're almost maybe even break even from a health standpoint. Like you might be like almost negating the benefits you get from what you're eating,
exactly,
and all those other things.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because there's so many things that causes stress in our body, not just like stressful things, but if you don't get a good night's rest, like that can be very stressful to the body.
Like you last night.
Exactly.
Poor guy.
Yeah. Here in Florida, having a good time last night. But yeah, there's a lot to say about managing stress. There's so many things that cause stress. Recovery. You can even like overstress your joints, like we were saying, like being really hard and rigid with like an exercise routine. Like your body needs rest. It needs to recover. But so you keep your body in like a stressful state all the time. You did say like you kind of negate all the good things you're trying to do. For sure.
Stuff that I guess maybe makes me cringe, you know, when I asked you that question earlier, is when it comes to, especially with women's health, there's this fixation on do as much cardio as possible, eat a lot of leafy greens, particularly making these kales, chia seed, you know, almond milk, smoothies.
Yeah, whatever they put in there.
Yeah, and like get your body fat percentage really low.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know the answer to this, but like, what's the problem with that scenario for women specifically in doing that? Because that's what they're kind of pressured into, I feel like. But
they're pressured into like, you need to do this to really stay lean and stay, you know, these like slim humans. But I think ultimately they're not giving themselves nutrition, because what's in that smoothie, maybe there's some like nutritional value, but it's really like there's not a lot in them. And I think a lot of women in particular are under eating, because they're like they're
like counting calories, so slowing their metabolism.
They have a lot of pressure around them, like, because if you eat a lot, you're going to gain weight. But I think women in particular, they're under, or they're malnourished, to say it like, you know, bluntly.
Yeah, they could look healthy because they got low body fat, whatever, they have defined abs or something, but doesn't necessarily mean that they're actually healthy,
right?
Especially from a hormonal standpoint.
Exactly, from the hormonal, I was going to go there next, because a lot of women now are like, they're becoming infertile, and like, you know, it's because their bodies are stressed from not having, you know, proper nutrition, and because of all the pressure that they have, or they're like kind of feel like they need to be doing these certain things, but they're being undernourished, and it's really affecting like fertility and all that, and their hormones.
Yeah, and I think I've seen statistics that women's body fat is supposed to be between like 20 to 24%.
Yeah.
For optimal hormonal health, and men between 11 to 14%. So it's like if you have like sub 10% body fat, it's like, okay, yeah, maybe you got the six pack or whatever, but you know, your testosterone may not be optimal. You know, you may actually have lower testosterone. And so I just feel like, you know, especially for women, I think because there's so much pressure and it's about doing endless cardio and counting calories, it's like those are actually the opposite of what you want to do. And it's like, I even think for women, the best thing they could do if they really want to like boost their metabolism is weight train.
Yeah.
Because then I think there's a fear of like, oh, I'm going to get too bulky or whatever. You're not. Trust me, it's like I could try to get bulky and I'm not ever going to get bulky. So, you know, it's
they are scared of like just being too bulky and too masculine looking. But weight training doesn't just like build muscle, but it's really just so good for our bodies in general, for our organs, for our health in general. It's really important to lift weights, lift heavy things, not all the time, but every once in a while, you know, and have it a routine thing.
Well, and like looking at lean muscle mass, you know, not only is that correlated with longevity in men and women, but it also, you know, the more lean muscle mass you have, the higher your resting metabolism, your metabolic rate is going to be. It's like putting a bigger engine in your car. So even at rest, even at idle,
you're burning more calories.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like the whole calories in, calories out thing. Maybe that's one of the things that drives me crazy, that because we just know it's just, I can't really explain it scientifically, but if I'm animal based, it doesn't matter how many calories I eat. I could up my calories to 3,500 a day and I won't gain a pound.
Right.
Because I just even feel like my body, it knows how to keep everything in that homeostasis. So whether you increase or decrease, like if you're eating the right types of food, the quality food, your body is not going to see the calorie the same way.
It's debunked, the calories in, calories out. I think to some degree there's like some truth to it, but ultimately it's like the quality of calories you're putting in will yield, you know, what you put out. But like you said, like people can have 2,000 calories one day, 3,500 calories the next day. But if it's high quality, your body kind of knows what to do, you know, with what you're putting in. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And I guess to kind of try to wrap it up a little bit, unless you had anything you wanted to add.
We're just yapping here. A couple of guys yapping.
Right? What would you say is your timeline for, like, let's call it Primal X for now? Like, what's kind of your timeline for that?
So I've been in the works for a bit. You know, I'm trying to like start my social media. It's Dr. Christian Torres. But I'm ultimately, like, my timeline to launch is sometime this year. I think I originally made a goal to launch my business, what month are we in, August? Like this fall, I want to kind of be launched and just start taking like some clients. It's all going to be digital. So
I was going to ask, will people you'll be able to serve clients anywhere?
Anywhere. Yeah. I want it to be digital because because I know that's the direction of everything. Everything's going to go digital. So I kind of want to be ahead of the game on that point. And still trying to figure out how that's going to go, because it's kind of funky to do like it's not going to be physical therapy, but it's definitely something like movement based, nutrition based, prevention. But if it's all digital, there's just some things I still need to figure out, obviously. But for launching, definitely sometime this fall. And I would love to start taking clients and starting to build that way, and then get out of traditional healthcare, because as we talked about, it's really broken. It's not really serving people well.
Yeah. And do you ever see it like you scaling it to where you have other coaches operating with that
would be amazing. Yeah, I think that could ultimately be like a long-term goal for sure. But I want to live my passion. I want to serve these people and do that for a long time, and really get a good education to these clients that I have in front of me, because for a prevention standpoint. Well, for like scaling though, yeah, definitely. I would love to have other coaches, maybe even build like a certification or something like unique, like a animal-based nutrition guide plus prevention, mobility, something I can teach other people to do if it's successful in helping people.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
I'm really glad we're able to do this, and it sucks you live so far away. You're out in San Diego. I'm in Florida. We're literally on opposite
coasts,
sides of the country, you know. So hopefully, are you planning on going to the animal-based gathering next year?
I am, for sure, and I keep telling people about it. I probably shouldn't be telling so many people. So
no, I mean, I know, right? Keep it exclusive, right?
But there are some people I want to bring along with me, though, since it was so like it was life-changing for me.
It was very unique. I don't think I've ever been to anything like it.
Never.
You know, I mean, if you can let's paint the picture here. You're in Costa Rica. Everywhere you go is basically incorporated with the outdoors, right? Everything's open air.
That's why I love it.
Yeah, it's open air. You're getting all that full spectrum sunlight, even if you're sitting down eating in a restaurant or whatever, you know. And then it's funny, all the meals were animal based, like grass-fed meats, organic fruits, raw milk. I mean, organs. There was like one night we had, I think it was heart.
Yeah, heart skewers.
Those
was so
awesome. Good. Yeah, you know, and it's like we had red lights, like red incandescent bulbs.
We did yoga one morning. We went hiking. We swam in a river. We were living like a really primal life.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what you want, like, you get that there. Totally. You can walk around barefoot the whole time you're there, you know. Like,
and I think you said you're going to live there.
I hope to. That's the game plan. Yeah, that's the game plan.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and I've wanted to live there for a long time, even before I was into animal-based or diet or anything, because I've been always just like, I spent a lot of time in Latin America, I guess, and my ex-wife is Puerto Rican, and, you know, so I've just been around it a lot, and I really enjoy it. And I also do not like the cold. In Florida's a break from the cold, but
I really want to live closer to the equator. I want to be near a coast. And I've just realized there's a reason why intuitively as human beings, we desire to go on vacation in those kinds of places, you know, where you see animals like your dogs and your cats will like try to lay in the sun, like intuitively, right? And so it's like there's something about that environment. And I don't know if you felt that way while you were there, but you feel energized,
I
like
felt the
refreshed, like your sleep is good.
One, you're like we already talked about, we were like around all these like-minded people, but just the environment in general. Like we were in the jungle, we were in the sun, we were eating really good food. You know,
you're grounding in the ocean.
Yeah.
And eating all these local fruits.
Yeah, it just felt so good. It just felt like we were just living how we were like meant
supposed to.
Yeah, and I walked away from that trip just feeling so at peace and so like that was an amazing thing I've never like experienced before, and I can't wait to go back.
Yeah, and it's been cool to make like I feel like long-term friendships like coming out of that.
Yeah,
you know,
totally. Like me and you.
Exactly. Like, you know, here we are sitting down doing a podcast.
I think it's so cool.
A couple months
when you
later,
asked me, I'm like, yeah, man, I'll be in your podcast. Heck yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. But we'll have to do it again, and you know, maybe the next one has to be remote or whatever.
Yeah,
but it would be cool to keep it going.
I would love to.
I'm glad that you did
more.
this because my podcast is young. It's 7 episodes. Like it's nothing at this point. It's just trying to.
You
be
gotta
something.
start somewhere, man. Just have good conversations. Like this was so easy to talk and just talk about this stuff because it's obviously it means something to both of us.
Yeah,
and something we're
passionate
both passionate about it. So that was actually a really easy conversation.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
it just felt so right to talk about all that stuff. So
yeah, man.
I appreciate the invite.
Appreciate you, dude. Yeah.
Thanks. You're the man.